always do our level-headed best to use the power of this program and our audience for the good of the American people. And there's, well, nothing better that we could use our time and resources for than to make sure that a violent animal gets the death penalty after murdering Iryna Zarutska. And that is precisely what we have been banging on about. DeCarlos Brown Jr. slaughtered Iryna Zarutska as she was sitting there helplessly on a bus, stabbed her in the throat, slaughters her, and then brags that he got that white girl. He was found incompetent to stand trial by a state psychiatrist in North Carolina. You can imagine who's paying this psychiatrist and what ecosystem they are a part of, the same woke Marxist ecosystem that let DeCarlos Brown Jr. off onto the street for 14 different violent offenses. We've gone viral today by saying this animal was competent enough to vote, competent enough to get welfare, competent enough for public housing, competent enough for EBT, competent enough to get free bus rides, competent enough to acquire a murder weapon, competent enough to slice a girl's throat in an instant, competent enough to brag on camera that he got that white girl. This animal was competent enough to stand trial 14 different times for violent offenses and be set free, to cheat justice 14 different times. But now, miraculously, that he's facing the death penalty, he's now incompetent. My blood is boiling. Well, we've gone viral on this, 17,000 reposts, 45,000 likes in just like an hour. And we got contacted by the DOJ because we did a whole show on this, raging that this is an opportunity for the Trump administration to actually show that they're going to take the most evil monsters on earth off the streets and punish them. And hopefully the death penalty is what we'll be getting. Well, Deputy Attorney General for Civil Rights, Harmeet Dillon, not only have we been speaking with members of the DOJ in order to assure us and this audience that the DOJ and the Trump DOJ is going to fix this problem and it is not going to let this killer slide, as had been reported by our channel and by others, because you could see that the game was afoot, right? Oh, he's mentally incompetent. Time to put him in a hotel for the rest of his life. And then out on good behavior again. This is how they work, right? To go kill again. More white people again. Harmeet Dillon saying this in response to the U.S. attorney here in the District of North Carolina. DeCarlos Brown is in federal custody on a federal indictment. The state proceedings, including any competency finding in those proceedings, are completely separate, meaning DeCarlos Brown Jr. will get different trials. And of course, the superseding federal trial is going to be a lot harder to rig your way out of. Obviously, the broken and woke, collapsed, embarrassing, fraudulent Charlotte area of North Carolina, which is diseased and gross when you go there. It is a sick city. It's dirty. It's collapsed. There's homeless people everywhere. It certainly doesn't look like the South. It doesn't feel like a Southern municipality at all. Same thing with Atlanta. These are sunken places. It's so depressing and sad. Anyway, that they have rigged their systems there. The prosecutors, the juries, the judges, it's all a rigged system. And so that's what scared us in the story. Well, now the federal system is coming down hard. Folks, I had great calls this morning with the U.S. Attorney in Charlotte. Brown remains in federal custody, and so the parallel state proceedings are now in no way dispositive, meaning they can't get rid, they're not going to get rid of the federal charges by having some crackpot psychiatrist try and liberate DeCarlos Brown Jr. again to kill again. There will be federal competency determination and prosecution track taking precedence. So it's going to take precedence on all of this. Ladies and gentlemen, it is going to be critical for them to get this right. Harmeet Dillon says DeCarlos Brown Jr. still faces federal charges. State proceedings are separate. Assistant Attorney General Harmeet Dillon on Thursday confirmed that DeCarlos Brown Jr., the alleged killer of Iryna Zarutska, would face a federal competency determination and independent state proceedings found him unfit to stand trial. Brown stands accused of killing Iryna Zarutska while aboard the Charlotte Metro. Footage of the incident appeared to show Brown stab her multiple times in the neck while she cowered in shock and fear and died alone. The episode attracted national attention. The state court found Brown mentally incompetent to stand trial. And Harmeet Dillon says, no, don't worry. We will bring justice. The reason why we got the call from the DOJ is because we had Mike Davis and Brandon Gill on the program and asked them about this. What should the DOJ be doing in order to get justice for Iryna Zarutska, which, in our opinion, should be a public firing squad in the middle of the town square. Here's what both of these legal geniuses had to say on a show that got us a phone call from the DOJ in order to say, calm down, we're on it. It's good to know. Here you go. What would be your advice to the DOJ? As I want to use this show to give to do probably what I didn't do enough of during the Epstein saga, which is to scream at the top of my lungs that Americans need to see transparency here. They need to see justice here. And they need to see this taken with extreme seriousness, because this is just one of those cases that has more prominence than most. People care a lot about it. It happened. It's Charlie Kirk's last tweet. One of his last tweets on Earth was about Iryna Zarutska, and he was killed the next day. And I'm not saying there's a connection. I'm just saying that this is something of deep permanence to our society. It matters, Mike, because, well, we will lose all faith in society if this man goes free, or if this man gets ruled incompetent and can spend the rest of his days in a taxpayer-funded hotel, right, being pampered and fed Jello, like that. We will lose faith in the systems. So what must the DOJ do to prove to fathers like me that my daughters won't end up like Iryna Zarutska?
Yeah, and just we all think about this, Ben. If the races were reversed here, there would be outrage all over this country, right? But this is just a violent black thug who killed a white girl, so we're not hearing much about this case. I had full confidence in Pam Bondi. I have full confidence in Todd Blanche, and he's tough as hell, just like Pam was. And I guarantee you, they will continue to pursue the death penalty. You have an interesting jury pool in Charlotte, so you're going to get some blue-haired freak in Charlotte who may not go along with the death penalty, but they need to pursue this and make an example out of this monster. And it's just totally unacceptable that you have a young, beautiful young woman minding her own business on a public transit, because Democrats don't want us driving cars. Only the elite liberals get to drive cars, but they're going to put people on these public transit systems and let these violent thugs kill people. No, it's totally unacceptable. This guy needs to be brutally executed.
Should happen to DeCarlos Brown Jr. in a just society?
He should be executed swiftly, decisively. He should of course get a fair trial, but it should be done quickly. He should be executed after. It's really simple. And I think that, one of the problems we have now is every execution gets tied up legally because and it becomes a 30-year death row sentence. And then there's all kinds of problems. Is this, cruel and unusual? Is it not? Just put him in front of a firing squad and be done with it. Once somebody is guilty of committing a crime this heinous, just get rid of them.
Yes, our ancestors had it right. And what about the tricks that are used? You sort of have made a cottage industry career here, Congressman, out of calling out sort of the woke bag of tricks. You do it often live during committee hearings, but it seems like they have in their basket a trick that's just drool in the chair in the corner. Don't answer any questions, and you'll be able to avoid the death penalty. And clearly his lawyers are advising him to do this. And so one psychiatrist, I wonder if that psychiatrist supports law and order. One psychiatrist says he's incompetent and shouldn't be held accountable for his actions. What do you say to that?
Yeah, I think that first of all, the psychiatrists should lose their license, lose all institutional credibility. And at some point, the psychiatrist should be held accountable for this. If you're taking somebody who is an absolute nut job, and frankly, I don't really care if this is a person who has legitimate mental problems or not. I just want them off of our streets. But if this is somebody who actually is mentally capable, and you have a psychiatrist who's lying about it, they should be not only completely discredited, but should be legally accountable for that, for the crimes that this animal is committing. But the idea that we should look at somebody and say, well, you've got some minor mental issue, therefore we're going to give you a slap on the wrist after you murder or rape or do something absolutely grotesque and heinous is insane. And we've got to, return to first principles and to some common sense and say, I don't really care about all of these sort of external factors that the left uses to muddy up the legal picture. I just want these people off the streets. At the end of the day, I don't want murderers on the streets. I want them in jail or dead. That's it.